Hello, I'm Peter Van Dusen, and this is Primetime Politics on CPAC. Let's talk about what's happening at the Commons Finance Committee examining the budget bill. It got pretty interesting this week, not so much for what they were talking about, but how they were talking about it. They took a bit of a turn this week as MPs were questioning the political affiliations of witnesses testifying at the committee and some of the background of these witnesses who were coming before the committee.
In 2004, were you not a candidate for the NDP party in Wascana?
Yes, I absolutely was an NDP candidate in the riding of Wascana.
I guess, again, you're talking about transparency.
Your initial question?
One at a time. One at a time.
Yeah, please. And where I'm going with this
Excuse me, we have a point of order.
Really? What does the man's candidacy in 2004 have to do with this? I mean, I implore this committee to consider what is being asked.
Sure, I'll get there.
I'm not sure it's relevant, but it's...
I will
go
get
ahead
there.
and clarify.
The reason I ask this, Chair, is when we bring witnesses forward, we take them very seriously. And their credibility is very important. And I'm looking at this witness and I'm saying, this is not a credible witness because this witness is not necessarily speaking on behalf of the economy. He's speaking on behalf of the NDP party of Canada or the NDP party in Saskatchewan. So how do I take what he tells me and give it credibility when I see garbage in what he's put in previous articles?
Isn't it important to people watching the committee process to know the context of the testimony being given by witnesses? Often they're presented as an individual, but it helps to know the background of the individual to put the testimony they're giving in context.
Well, also the context of the environment in which the questions are being asked and what they're presenting on. And, you know, Randy is, and I'll defend Randy because I think he's a solid MP, even though it might not have been his finest moment in committee. Randy's a solid MP from Saskatchewan. And he's defending the West in an unprecedented attack that we saw from Leader of the Opposition, Mr. Mulcair, when he's been so vociferous lately, attacking the West and creating kind of a regional envy game now with pitting Ontario and Quebec.
Are there other ways to do that, though, than describing someone's testimony and their research as well?
You're drawing a long bow, I think.
Sorry, go jump, Greg, and then quickly, and then Robin.
Chris, I think you're drawing a long bow. I mean, fine if Randy Hoback wants to attack Mulcair for his comments, then do it that way. Don't attack someone who came before committee, because you know there's a lot of Canadians that have been involved in politics. If all of a sudden they are unqualified to give an opinion before committee, things are going to dry up pretty fast.
Well, what I find really interesting too is if you disagree with a witness on the merits and the substance of what they're presenting, then do so and present your case. Don't just call it garbage. Mr. Weir is a Western Canadian. I mean, he's from Saskatchewan. He's an economist who appears on shows as prestigious as Lang O'Leary's show. I mean, debate him then on the economics of it. If you disagree with his economics, then do it that way. To your question, though, I do think it's fair for committee members to put the context in play. And if you want to put in context that Mr. Weir was an NDP candidate, then say so as much. But don't do it as you said, a McCarthyism type attack, and then refer to his work as garbage.
Well, to Chris's point earlier, as part of the problem with the process, especially on something that has become as controversial as the budget bill. I mean, for people to understand how the system works, the committee members decide the witness list and who gets to come. And so what's been starting to happen is both sides, government versus opposition, tend to stack, the witness train to the point where you're...
And that process happens in camera, so we don't really know how...
A lot of it happens in camera, and so what you're hearing is basically extensions of government and opposition positions because of the way they choose the witnesses. Is that we agree on that? That's a problem with the system?
No, I don't think it's a problem.
I'm not sure it's a new problem.
No, it's not a new problem.
No, and I don't necessarily think it's a problem. I think there's something more endemic about the challenges that are happening in committee, and I think they just we need to remake Parliament a little bit and have it work in a more productive way, because I don't think it's productive right now.
And what wasn't a problem here today, we're talking about this, which is good because we saw this. This was open to the public. I mean, a lot of the problem we've had with committees is we haven't been able to see what's been going on there. We just see the outcomes of the votes, and they can't discuss what's in camera unless you're Jerry Byrne, of course. But I do think that it's good that we're able to talk about this today because it was a public hearing.
Yeah, does it risk, Greg, to you here, does it risk throwing a bit of a chill over committees in terms of who wants to come before a committee and be treated that way?
Yeah, I mean, who wants to come in and be embarrassed and treated in that way by someone that you should know better, parliamentarians? The other thing, to Robin's point, more people know about it. I mean, I think they have to be aware, just because of YouTube is how I first saw this video. I wasn't watching committee when Randy Hoback did this, but through some links on Twitter, it was quite easy to find, and I think a lot more people are now aware of it than perhaps Mr. Hoback expected. I think we're in a position right now, if you're a Conservative backbencher and you're in the news, it's not a good thing. We can look at Wilkes from last week or Randy Hoback from this week and his big Perry Mason moment where he discovered that this witness had run for the New Democrats in 2004, which is really tough research through a device called Google. I think Randy Hoback looked really, really ridiculous there. And, you know, and again, anything where you can be connected to Joe McCarthy. I mean, it was, I think, the Army Counsel, Joseph Welch, who said, you know, have you no decency, sir? Yeah. That's the type of thing that's going to result from an attack like that. And Hoback's timing is a little interesting because it just came out earlier this week that if you ran for the Conservatives in the last election and lost, you got a job. Some of those jobs are, you know, in the public sector are supposed to be somewhat nonpartisan. So by Hoback's own example, are those people, you know, unfit to have those jobs because of their previous political involvement expected? I don't know who his audience was, who he thought he was trying to impress with this, but a lot more people that are going to be unimpressed now have seen it.
Yeah, I think the audience was probably the domestic audience in Saskatchewan.
Or the PMO.
Chris said earlier, making his defense of his province. But
just quickly, I think it's also unfortunate that here we are. This was the omnibus budget bill, 750-something clauses, and we're talking about the tactics that happen at committee. That's unfortunate because this is the committee that's supposed to shine light on this. So I think that's unfortunate.
Okay, gentlemen, that's our time. Appreciate you all coming in today. Thank you.
Thanks, Peter.
Thanks, Peter.
Thank you.